Okay, so we are starting with chapter 8, in the Supreme. um, so, at the end of 7th chapter, Arjuna asked few questions. So, what is Adibhutam, Adidaivam, Adiyagnam, all these things. Brahma, Adhyatma, Karma, Adiyagna. So these 6 things, now Krishna will speak about what are these terms, and in the verses, first shloka to 4th shloka, Krishna answers Arjuna's questions and also discusses yoga principles and pure devotional service. So those questions are answered now in shloka 1 to 4. Okay, let's begin with shloka number 1. Arjuna uvacha kim tad brahma kim adhyatmam किं कर्म पुरुषोत्तम अधिभूतं च किं प्रोक्तम् अधिदैवं किम् उच्यते. So, sorry, not in this. Now, Arjuna is asking the question, but if we see in the end of 7th chapter, Krishna mentions these terms. So, shloka number 30 of the last shloka of 7th chapter, Krishna says, साधि भूतादिदैवं मां साधियज्ञं च ये विदुः प्रयाणकालेऽपि च मां ते विदुर्युक्तचेतसः. So at the time of death, Krishna is saying in the shloka, those who are in full consciousness of me, the Supreme Lord, and those who can understand that I am Adibhuta, means the controller, governing principle of this whole material creation. Then Adidaiva, I am the controller of all the devatas. And Adiyagna, I am also the controller of all the yagnas or sacrifices. So, because Krishna mentioned this, now Arjuna is questioning what are they. So, now Arjuna is asking, Arjuna Uvacha, Arjuna said, Kim Tat Brahma? What is that Brahman that you keep referring to? So, Kim Adhyatmam? Adhyatmam, Brahma means, Brahma usually refers to the spirit, the spirit soul. And it can also refer to the Supreme Lord, who actually is known as Parabrahma. So that which is spiritual is Brahman, as against everything else that is material in this world. So what is that Adhyatmam? Adhyatma means the self. So Adhyatmic klesha. So just like there are 3 types of, 3 main categories of sufferings that we go through. It's also known as tapatraya. Adhyatmic, adibhautik, adidaivik. So these are the Vedic terminologies. If we are familiar, it will help because these keep coming up. So Adhyatma means the self. That means the spirit soul, yes. But self also means, on a lower level, it's the mind, and even lower is the body. So these are different levels of conception. So one who is completely devoid of any kind of knowledge, like the animals, right? And the plants don't even have that much consciousness. At least the animals, they are constantly thinking, they are under the impression that I am this body. In fact, even humans in Kali Yuga. So, but they have no idea. The animals have no idea there is a mind also. At least the humans, some are aware that, okay, there is a mind also, mind, intelligence, ego. So that is the second high, that is a higher, next higher conception of self. That is also Adhyatma. And the highest conception of the self is no, I'm neither the body nor the mind, intelligence, ego. These are all external coverings. So I'm really the spirit soul. So therefore, Adhyatma means the self. Kim karma. So what is karma? Uh, karma means all the fruitive activities. Means where any activity done with a self-interest, intention to gain something from it. That is karma. But the activities which are done to please the Lord, that is their bhakti. So, Purushottama, then Purushottama means a supreme person. He's asking, oh, Purushottama, oh Lord. Then Adibhutam, Chakim Proktam. Adibhutam means, so Bhuta always refers to something which is material. So Adibhuta means the uh, entire material manifestation. So it's like the sum total of all the, you can say, living entities along with this material manifestation. So generally, it refers to material universe or the entire material creation, which has multifarious, so many millions of universes in it. Chakim proktam. Proktam means called. So what is called as Adibhutam? He's asking. Then Adhidaivam kim uchyate? Uchyate means called. What is called as Adhidaiva? Daiva means uh, Devatas. Daiva, Deva is all the same. So all these. So what are these Devatas? Who are they? What do they do? That kind of a thing. So, of course, we have to be aware as students of Bhagavad Gita that Devatas, they're all working as servants or assistants to the Supreme King, who is the Supreme Lord Shri Krishna. The Devatas can never be equal or above. What to speak of above? They can never be equal to Krishna. They're also tiny living entities like us. The difference is that they have much greater qualification than us in terms of karma, gnana, all this, even bhakti. Only when it comes to pure devotees may be, in terms of bhakti, they may be higher than the devatas, some devatas. So, therefore, um, devatas are empowered living entities. They are empowered by the Supreme Lord Himself to carry out some of these uh, activities to manage the material creation. So, therefore, now Arjuna is asking, what are all these? Can you please explain to me? So, as I said, Adhyatmam can mean the body, mind, the soul. And the body also includes, or the mind and body, they also include the senses. And so Arjuna is referring to Krishna here as Purushottama. So Arjuna calls Krishna by many names, depending on the context. And the acharyas explain why he has chosen to use that particular name for this context. So here he is referring to Krishna as Purushottama because now he is not just a friend of Arjuna, but he's a Purushottama, means he's the supreme lord of all living entities. And therefore, because he is the supreme lord, he is the supreme authority, he will be able to give definite answers for all these questions. So that's the significance. So shloka number 2. अधियज्ञः कथं कोत्र देहेऽस्मिन् मधुसूदना प्रयाणकाले च कथं नेयोऽसि नियतात्मभिः. Adhiyagnaha means yagna, we all know is this sacrifice or havan or homa, whatever. So Adhiyagna means who is the controller or the lord of that sacrifice. Katham, ko, atra. So he's asking Katham means how, kaha means who, and atra here means atra dehe asmin. Dehe means this body. In this body, who is that Lord of the sacrifice that is living in this body, and how does he live in this body? Then Prayana Kale, Asmin Madhusudana. So he's calling here as the killer of the demon Madhu. Because doubts are also like demons. So we have to proactively ask questions and clarify our doubts. Otherwise, what will happen is, if some doubt remains, then it may even slacken our faith. Therefore, these doubts are compared to demons, and therefore Arjuna is calling Krishna as Madhusudana. You are the slayer of the demon Madhu. So please slay the demons of these doubts in my head, so that I can also come to the platform of knowledge. Prayana Kale means, Prayana means travel. So obviously in this context, it is they're referring to the final travel, final journey of the soul. That means the time of death. Cha katham, how? Katham means how. Neosi niyata atmabhihi. Niyata atmabhihi. Niyata means one who has controlled mind and senses. So he's not these ordinary conditioned souls who have no awareness of anything. But Niyatatma Bihi are those who are the yogis or devotees who are self-controlled. So such self-controlled people, how Neosi means how can they know at the time of death? How can they know you? So these are obviously the yogis and the devotees. So how do they, at the time of death, how do they know you? Means how will they be aware of you? So these are very important questions he's asking. Because in the last shloka of 7th chapter, that's exactly what Krishna said. After giving knowledge about himself and about the three modes and about different types of people who approach him and different types of people who don't approach him and all these. So finally, he is concluding that, ultimately, one has to come to understanding and knowing me as a Supreme Lord. So that, at the time of death, in this full consciousness of me as a Supreme Lord, they will be able to think about me. Even at the time of death, they should be in full conscious of me. So now Arjuna is asking, so how will they be? How can they attain that stage of being conscious of you at the time of death? Because those who are Arjuna is asking because he's very anxious to know of those who are constantly trying to serve the Lord in bhakti, in Krishna consciousness. How should they be at the time of death? Because at the time of death, what to speak of time of death? Even let's say if we get hurt or we meet with an accident or something, when something sudden or something very disruptive or painful happens, do we really think? Who do we think of? What do we think of at that times? Can we really think of the Lord? We can only think of those people who we are very attached to. Therefore, if we transfer our attachment to the Lord, then we can think about Him. And if we are always trying to think of Him, and if we are always trying to reach out to Him, pray out to Him, then that may follow during the time of death, which is the most painful, especially for those who are not at all aware of the spiritual existence. Those who think that they are this body, when the body is undergoing so much trauma, and all the bodily functions are all disrupted and completely disarrayed, then how can one think of the Supreme Lord? In fact, a great devotee called Kulashekar Alvar, that he also prays that, oh Lord, right now my mind is all right, my body is okay, and I'm able to think of you. Please be kind upon me and, uh, take me out of this body. Let me, because now I'm able to think of you nicely, so let me die right now. Because at the time of death, all the kapha, vata, pitta, all the different bodily airs and bodily fluids and whatnot, they'll choke us. Uh, choke our throat, and all our bodily functions are all completely disarranged. And how can I possibly even think about you? So therefore, Arjuna is asking how a person can fix his mind on Krishna's lotus feet at such a time. So now, shloka number 3. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Aksharam Brahma Paramam Svabhavodhyatmam Uchyate Bhuta Bhavodbhava Karo Nisargah Karma Samnitaha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, the Supreme Lord said, Aksharam Paramam Brahmam Aksharam. So Parabrahma, or the Supreme Lord, who is Paramam, means who is beyond this material nature, beyond these material energies of Sattva, Rajatama. The Supreme Lord, He is Akshara, He is indestructible. And so also, even the living entity can also be called as Brahman. He is also indestructible because he is also transcendental to this material nature. He is on a spiritual platform. Swabhavo adhyatmam uchyate. The living entity is nature, his eternal nature. That is swabhava. Swabhava means eternal nature. Adhyatmam uchyate. That is called as adhyatma. So now Lord is answering. So what is Brahma? He said Brahma is that which is indestructible, Aksharam. So what is Adhyatmam? Adhyatma means the self, the nature of the self, the eternal nature of the self or the spirit soul. So, and means that spiritual nature or the spirit soul. Then Bhuta Bhavo Dbhava Karo. Udbhava means creating, and Bhuta Bhava Udbhava Kara means creation of the material bodies of the living entities. Visargaha Karma Samnitaha. So, karma is what is karma? Now, Lord is answering very nicely here. What is karma? Karma are those activities, refers to those activities which lead to the creation of our material body. So, um, anything, any activity, either through body, mind, or words, which we do, uh, which has our own self interest pertaining to this world, then that is karma, because that is in turn helping, that is in turn leading to creation of another body. Because even as of now, uh, our next body is getting ready, because depending on our activities of our body, mind, and words, uh, that kind of a suitable body is getting ready when our all our activities and our life comes to an end. Then when that body is completely ready, and we will get body according to our state of mind, that Krishna will explain in detail further in this very chapter. Therefore, uh, if our activities that we are doing through our body, mind, and words, they're all related to Krishna and they're all spiritual, then we will get a spiritual body accordingly. So that is not karma, then that becomes bhakti. So therefore, karma refers to those activities which give rise to, visarga means creation. Creation of what? Bhuta bhava, udbhava karaha. Producing bhuta bhava. That means the uh, living entities and their nature, which is what? Their material body. That is getting created by this karma. All right. So the next shloka, number 4. अधिभूतं क्षरो भावः पुरुषश्चादिदैवतम् अधियज्ञोऽहमेवात्र देहे देहभृतां वर. Adhibhutam means, bhuta again means this material manifestation. Adhibhutam means this entire material creation. Bhavaha means nature. Purushaha cha adhidaivatam. Adhidaivatam means the devatas. And who is this Adidaiva? Who is the controller of all the devatas? He's actually he's the universal form of the Lord, or the Vishwarupa. Vishwarupa, whatever he shows to Arjuna, that comes up in the 11th chapter, that is actually called as the Adidaiva, because um, in that universal form of the Lord, all the devatas are also included in it. Because different parts of the body of that universal form are made of the devatas, just like the sun and the moon are compared to the eyes of the Lord. That means they are comparing to this universal form of the Lord. His two eyes are the sun and the moon. Then um, and so on. There are so many devatas, just like um, the nose in the nostrils, two nostrils, the two Ashwini Kumaras reside, and so on. So each part of the body of the universal form um, is the place of residence for certain devatas, because they are responsible for those functions. Just like the sun and the moon. Why are they situated in the as the eyes of the universal form of the Lord? Because the Lord is giving light to this universe, through the agency of the sun and the moon. Therefore, they are the eyes of the Lord, because without the, if the Lord sees, only then we can see. That means these eyes have no power without the light given by the Lord. So therefore, that is known as Adhi Daiva. Adhi Yagno Aham Eva Atra. Adi Yagnaha means the Supreme Lord, who is um, the Lord of all the Yagnas. He says, it is me, Aham. I am that super soul or the Adi Yagna, who is sitting in Atra, Dehe Atra. I am sitting in this body. So Arjuna was asking who and where is he? That Adi Yagna, where is he? So how is he situated in the body? So Krishna is answering now. I am situated within the as Adhiyagna or the Paramatma or the super soul within Dehabhritam. Dehe Dehabhritam. Within the body of all these living entities. In the heart, actually, in the heart of all these um, embodied living entities. Means we have seen that Krishna uses this specific term as Dehi. When he says as Dehi, he is referring to people like us who are conditioned souls. Why? Because we are all spirit souls who are living in this Deha or the body. Therefore, he is calling us as Dehi because we who possess this material body. And how one gets such a body, how such a body is created, actually, that's a very, very big science. And Prabhupada has given a very nice, beautiful explanation. And now Krishna is going into those shlokas wherein he will explain how at the time of death, one's next body or destination, how it gets decided. So here Krishna has said, Adhibhuta or the material manifestation, it is actually kshara, means it is constantly changing. So for Brahma, in the previous shloka, he had said, Aksharam Brahma. Brahma or the spiritual soul or the spirit, that is indestructible. That doesn't change. So that is known as Brahma, and therefore it is indestructible, and it is Akshara. For Adibhuta, however, this material nature, that is Kshara, because it is constantly changing and it is going to be destroyed. So we see even in this material world, even within our own experience, anything and everything we see, it has a manufacturing date and it has an expiry date. So therefore, it is going to be destroyed with time. All that is part of this material manifestation is going to be destroyed. Therefore, it is quite different from this spiritual energy. So next, in the shloka number 5, now Krishna is answering what happens at the time of death. How the person can actually think of the Supreme Lord, or how can he be conscious of the Supreme Lord. Shloka number 5. Antakale cha mameva smaran muktva kalevaram yah prayati samadbhavam yati nastyatra samshayah. Antakale cha mameva smaran. So this is extremely important for us devotees. So Antakale means at the end of one's life, Mam eva smaran muktva. So Krishna is saying, he is making it very clear, one who is able to remember me alone, only me, at the time of death. And if we are able to remember Krishna alone, muktva kalevaram. Muktva means quitting, kalevaram means the body. So while quitting the body, if one is able to think only about Krishna, yaha prayati samadbhavam. Prayati means goes. Saha means he. He, such a person, he goes. Where does he go? Madbhavam. He goes to my nature. So what is Krishna's nature? Aksharam Brahma. He already mentioned. Brahma means spirit soul, or Parabrahma means the Supreme Lord. What is his nature? It is Aksharam, indestructible. So he goes to that place which is indestructible. Yati nasti atra samshayaha. There is no doubt. Samshaya means no doubt of what? That's this person who, at the time of quitting his body, thinks of me alone. He attains me, or he attains my nature. That means he attains a spiritual nature. So we were talking about swabhava. Swabhava in the previous shloka. What does swabhava mean? It is nature. So adhyatma. Adhyatma means it is the self. So it could mean body, mind, or the soul. And swabhava is the nature, eternal nature. So now Krishna is saying madbhavam, or nature. He attains my nature. So from he is getting now transferred from this kind of nature, material nature, to spiritual nature. Or in other words, he attains the Supreme Lord in his spiritual world. Of this there is no doubt. So this is really the crux of, or the final goal of all paths or yoga that we have seen even in the Dhyana Yoga. It is actually, if we are able to come to the point of remembering smarana of the Supreme Lord, constant remembrance, not occasional. Occasional we all remember. But who is that yogi who has attained perfection? That Krishna explained in the 6th chapter, end of 6th chapter. Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana shraddhavan bhajate yomam sameyukta tamomataha. One who is constantly thinking of Lord Krishna in his mind, he is the best of all yogis. So that is the perfection. And one who has such a practice throughout, naturally he will be thinking of the Lord even at the time of death. And how can one remember someone all the time? That is possible only if we love them. We cannot remember or keep thinking of someone, just some random person. Even as devotees, as practicing devotees, that is why it requires us to study scriptures deeply, because we have to understand who this person Krishna is. Superficial understanding, okay, we may occasionally think about him, remember, okay, yeah, he's good, he's very nice, he has such nice leelas, devotees, all that is fine. We all know that. But why aren't we able to think of the Lord always? Because we need to be attracted to him. To the extent we are attracted to him, to that extent we are always thinking of him. To the extent we are attached to him and love him, to that extent we will be thinking of him. So therefore, now how does one come to that smarana? Especially in Kali Yuga, it is through chanting of the Lord's names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So by Shravana and Kirtana, one comes to Smarana. By constant hearing can also mean reading. So we have to do both. hear Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and also read, scrutinizingly read the purports of Srila Prabhupada. Then we will be able to understand slowly all the different, details of the mysterious nature of the Supreme Lord. That's why Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yovetti tatvataha. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti surjuna. Tatvataha, who really understands in truth his transcendental activities of his, appearance and his other leelas. One who is able to, so that is why it takes one to scrutinizingly read Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. Then such a person, Krishna is assuring that such a person will be able to attain him. Tyaktva deham punarjanma naiti mameti sorjuna. Why? Why? Because he'll be able to think about Krishna at the time of death. See how everything is correlated. One who has understood nicely, one who the different leelas and tattvas of the Lord, he will be able to remember the Lord at the time of death also. So in the next shloka, Krishna is saying, Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam. This is the shloka number 6. Yam yam vapi smaran bhavam tyajatyante kalevaram tam tam eva iti kaunteya sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Yam yam, whatever, va api, smaran bhavam. Whatever one is remembering, smaran, bhavam, whatever nature or state of, whatever is his state of mind. So everything is centered on the mind. So that's why we saw even in the chapter 6, Atmaiva hi Atmano Bandhu Atmaiva Ripuratmanaha. It is really the mind which can be our best friend. That means if the mind becomes attached to Krishna, oh, what more do we want? The mind will automatically go to Krishna. The mind thoughts will automatically go to Krishna. Now that is what is required. That spontaneous attachment to Krishna. Of course, it will not come overnight. It will come with years of sincere practice and prayers. And finally, the mercy of Guru and Krishna. And that is our hope. But one whose mind is constantly drawn to material things, and that mind will completely derail him. In some cases, it will take him to hell. So, therefore, it is always the mind. Here also, Krishna is saying the same thing. Smaran bhavam, who will remember? It's the mind. Whatever a person remembers, when tyajatyante kalevaram means body, ante means at the end, tyajati, who gives up, at the end of this life, one while giving up the body, one who, whatever state of mind one has, or whatever one is thinking at that time of death. So in the previous shloka, Krishna made a very specific instruction, specific statement that one who thinks only of me, he will attain me. What about those who don't think of me? Now he's talking about that. Whatever one thinks of at the time of death, tam tam evaiti kaunteya. Tam tam, that, whatever, similar to whatever they are thinking, eva eti, they get. Kaunteya, O son of Kunti, or Arjuna, tad bhava, sada tad bhava bhavitaha. Therefore, whatever one is thinking at the time of death, that's what they're going to get. So I was previously just some few minutes back, I was studying about how constantly we are always doing some activity through body, mind, and words. Kaya, vacha, manasa. Constantly, if it is connected to Krishna, then that is bhakti. If it is not connected to Krishna, then it is karma. So, accordingly, our body is also getting next body, or the next body for the next life is also getting done. Even as we are speaking, even as we are thinking, even as of now, it is getting done, getting ready. So when it is fully ready, when will it be ready? When we have come to the end of our life. Whatever is the state of mind at that time, right? Let's say if we have come to 70% sattva guna, 20% rajoguna, 10% tamoguna. I'm just saying some random combination. We will exactly get that kind of a body, which is probably more sattvic and little rajoguna and tamoguna. Let's say someone has become a pure devotee and is completely spiritualized himself or herself by thinking constantly about Krishna. Then naturally they will get a spiritual body. So our body is actually the mirror image of our mind. So why, we may have seen in the movies, or we may have heard, a person when he dies, the ghost comes out and the ghost exactly looks like that person. Why? Because the ghostly body is the subtle body, which is a mirror image of the gross body. It is not the reverse. It is actually the gross body looks like the subtle body, because we have had a certain kind of desires, we have had certain aspirations, and certain karma and all this. So all this comes together to give us this kind of a body, whatever we have got in this particular lifetime. That is because of our own aspirations, our own. Of course, we have to deserve, and then we get also. Someone may want to be as beautiful, the most beautiful woman in the world. They may have that aspiration, but if they don't have enough uh, pious karma for that, they may not get sufficient. They may get to some extent. I'm just giving an example. So, similarly, whatever is our state of mind, our next body will be given according to that. And if it is completely spiritual, then we get a spiritual form. And if it is not, then we have to take on another gross body. Um, Therefore, Krishna is now saying, this is what happens. Therefore, what should a devotee do? He should always think of Krishna. Sada tad bhava bhavita. We should always, that's why Krishna keeps saying, Mam anusmara yudhyacha. Arjuna, you keep fighting, don't stop fighting, but remember me while you're fighting. Similarly, actually we also, practicing devotees, we should also come to that state of perfection wherein we are able to spontaneously think of Krishna while we are doing other activities. Of course, it's not easy. It will We have to try for it by chanting offenselessly. That is our first priority. If we are able to chant, try to give up our offenses while chanting, and then try to read and hear associated devotees and all that. So a day will come by Lord's mercy, then we can go to higher states of bhakti and understanding. But the thing is, uh, even as sadhakas, we can always try to mix bhakti with all other activities. So a moment should not go without remembering Krishna, even as neophyte devotees, even at our lowest stages of devotion. Also, for example, when we are cooking, we can be hearing some lecture and cooking while doing other chores, household chores as women. So that is one advantage actually for women. As opposed to what the feministic people are thinking. For devotees, female body is actually in many ways it's an advantage, and definitely in many ways it's a big disadvantage. So in this material world, there's always pros and cons. As long as we can do activities which don't require our mind, we don't have to think, or if we don't have to use our intelligence, like how For those who are working outside, they have to engage their minds and their intelligence. They have no choice. But at least for housewives, we don't have to, in most activities, if let's say we are cooking some recipes that we already know, I'm just giving an example. For that, we don't have to use much of our brain. Uh, but of course, we may not be able to 100% concentrate, but nevertheless, whatever extent possible, we can hear. Let's say we are trying out a new recipe, then it may not be possible to completely devote the time or devote our attention. But to the extent possible, we should include this Shravan Kirtan. It's like salt. We may put so many ingredients and make a recipe. If we don't put salt, there is no taste. Similarly, Shravan Kirtan is our life for bhakti. So therefore, we have to keep on including Shravan Kirtan in all activities. Then finally, we'll come to a state where naturally we'll be able to think of Krishna. Hopefully, one day by Lord's mercy. So, shloka number 7. तस्मात् सर्वेषु कालेषु मामनुस्मरयुध्य च मय्यर्पितमनो बुद्धिः मामे वैश्यस्य संशयः. So Krishna is saying, therefore, tasmat sarveshu kaleshu, all the time, mam anusmara, you have to remember me. Yudhyacha, yeah, right now he's saying that mam anusmara yudhyacha, you fight, but you have to, keep thinking of me, then you will be conscious of me. Then no karma will affect you. Mai arpita mano buddhi. Mai means unto me. Arpita, surrender. What should we surrender? Our mind and intelligence. Oh, this is very tough. Generally, when we become devotees, we surrender our bodies. That's easy. Externally, we become devotees. Oh, but the mind, the subtler the senses, the subtler the aspect, body, first body is easier, then some senses are more subtle, then the mind is more subtle, and the intelligence is even more subtle, and the false ego is even more subtle. Oh, that's why it is very, very difficult to surrender the false ego more than anything. What to speak of the mind? We can't even catch the mind. It's always running around here, there. Therefore, Krishna is saying surrender. He's very specific. Krishna is obviously the most intelligent. He knows just by surrendering the body, the surrender is not complete. When can we think? When can we claim that we are really surrendered to the Lord? Only when we have surrendered our mind and intelligence. Intelligence also. How can intelligence be surrendered? By nicely studying Shastra, scrutinizingly studying the purports, and aligning our intelligence and thinking with that of the Shastra. So we should also, our intelligence should be trained in such a way that we are able to see the world according to the Shastra. Mai arpita manobuddhi mam evaishyasi asamshayaha. Then mam eva, you will attain me, asamshayaha, without a doubt. Ashyasi means you will attain me without a doubt. When we are always thinking of the Lord, even when we are doing all other activities, and when we are completely surrendered, when we have surrendered our mind and intelligence to the Lord, then naturally we'll be thinking of Him. Then no problem. We will attain Him because we are always thinking of Him. Whatever we are thinking, always we are most probably going to think about that the time of death. So if we are thinking about the Lord at the time of death, then surely we will go to Him. So the mind's problem is, our problem is, the mind is contaminated with so many impressions from millions of lifetimes. All that needs to be scrubbed. And Mahamantra, Hare Krishna Mahamantra, is literally the scrub that we will realize one day. Right now, we are just scrubbing it. The more we scrub, we see there is more dust and more dust. But a day will come when suddenly we'll see, it's all gone. Where did it all go? So we have to keep trying. We have to have faith because our acharyas have said it will happen one day. Shloka number 8. Abhyasayogayuktena chetasanaanyagaminā paramam purusham divyam yanti parthānu chintayan. Abhyasa yoga. Now one may say, oh my God, this is very difficult. How do we surrender the mind? Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balavadhridam. Arjuna has already made that right statement. How do we surrender now? Mind and the intelligence. So Krishna is saying, even before we ask such doubts, Krishna knows us. So he'll clarify. Immediately he'll clarify. Don't worry. It's not difficult. It's not impossible. How is it possible? By practice abhyasa yoga. Yuktena, by always engaged in bhakti yoga, by meditating on the Lord. Chetasa, by mind and intelligence. Na anya gamina. Gamina means to go. Anya means elsewhere. Without letting the mind and intelligence go here or there. So that means with undeviated mind and intelligence, one who constantly practices and engages his mind and intelligence in the Supreme Lord, then what happens? Paramam Purusham Divyam Yati. So such a person, he gets yati, he goes to or he attains whom? The Supreme Lord, Paramam Purusham, the transcendental. Divya means transcendental, Supreme Lord. How he attains that? By constantly. Partha means, O son of Pritha, O Arjuna, Anuchintayan, by constantly thinking or remembering the Supreme Lord. Undeviated means the mind. It's not that I think about it little here, little there, and I also think about other things, million other things. No. So one can attain the Lord only when he comes to that state of samadhi, which means 100% focus on the Supreme Lord. The mind should be completely focused on the Supreme Lord. And how is that possible? That is possible by constant practice. We have to keep practicing. Of course, practice first starts with tongue and ears, Shravana, Kirtana. Then Smarana will come. If we don't even know, if we don't have the food for thought, then how will we get the thought? So first of all, we have to get that food, as much food as possible. That means read, and hear. So we have to put so much of stuff in our mind that when the mind becomes purified, then all these thoughts of Krishna, all the things we have read and heard about Krishna, that will start coming on its own. Just like, how a movie will be projected, right, on a screen. If there are other things on the screen, then this will not be visible. So that screen should be clear. It should, all the dust should be wiped. Then you start playing the movie, then nicely you can see the movie. That's what happens. First we are scrubbing now. Right now we are scrubbing the mind. When the mind is nice and clean, and when there is that movie ready there. Why? Because we have been reading and hearing. It's ready now. Then it will start playing. Then that is samadhi. That is constant thinking of Krishna. Okay. Shloka number 9. Kavim Puranam Anushasitaram Manoraniyam Manusmaredyah Sarvasya Dhataram Achintya Rupam Aditya Varnam Tamasah Parastat. Kavim Puranam. Purana means one who is the oldest. Kavi means one who knows everything, who is very knowledgeable. Anushasitaram, one who is the controller. Anoraniyamsam. He's smaller than even Anu. Aniyamsam means smaller than even the atom. Anu means the atom. Anusmaredyaha always thinks um, of whom? Sarvasya Dhataram, one who is the maintainer of everything, uh, and who has an inconceivable form. Because it is spiritual, we have never conceived of such a form. We have only conceived of only material forms all our life, and many millions of lifetimes previously also. So therefore, such a spiritual form of the Lord is actually inconceivable for our mind and our senses. But still, because we have heard, we have to, based on that knowledge, we have to meditate on such a form of the Lord, which is what? Aditya Varnam, which is like so effulgent like the sun. Because Krishna is the origin of millions of suns, or to speak of his own form, which is tamasah parastat, which is completely transcendental to any form of darkness. Therefore, we have to, how, so now if we have to think about the Lord, if we have to meditate on the Lord, we can meditate on his Nama, Rupa, Guna, Leela. In that order, it will come naturally. It's not that we have to try right now, but Nama, first of all, right now we are chanting the Nama. We are trying to hear. If we come to, Srila Prabhupada says that once we come to a point wherein we are able to clearly hear what we are chanting, that is perfection. So that way the Nama will be revealed. So that will be the pure name. Then Nama, Rupa, then his form will be revealed, then Guna, his qualities, then his Leela. So now one can also meditate on, Krishna is saying, one should meditate on the Supreme Lord, who is the knower of everything. He's the oldest of all. He's the controller of everything. He's smaller than the smallest also. Even though he's larger than the largest, he's also smaller than the smallest. He's the maintainer of everything. He's beyond all this material energy conception. That means one who is completely spiritual. So such a luminous, is as luminous as the sun. We have to meditate on on the Supreme Person. When we meditate this way, so not our own concocted form. That is why even in the Bhagavatam, there is elaborate description of the Lord's beautiful uh, forms of various incarnations, or especially of Supreme Lord Sri Krishna. And even for those who are less fortunate, who cannot conceive of this kind of spiritual form, there is elaborate description in the second canto, I think, of Bhagavatam about the universal form, because they cannot conceive of a spiritual form. So there is a imaginary material form also of the Lord, so which is the universal form. So somehow or the other, we have to bring our mind to meditating on the Lord's name and leelas. Then naturally we will, if we with such constant practice, then even at the time of death, we'll be able to think of Supreme Lord Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Okay, I'll stop here.